There is a line on every electronic warfare chart that most people never notice. It is called the burn-through range. It is the hard edge where jamming stops protecting you. Cross it and your electronic cover disappears. Cross it and enemy radar sees you clearly. Cross it and people start dying. At 0200 on January 3rd, the USS Aoima did not just approach that line. She held position right inside it, about 50 miles within it. Only 80 nautical miles from the shore. Lights out, the mission's quiet, 3,000 people on board. To a news crew filming from far away, it looks like a normal patrol. To a naval planner, it looks like a ship placed in a graveyard. Why would anyone park a $3 billion ship where one radar button could turn it into scrap on the ocean floor? Why put a level 2 trauma center where the doctors might become the wounded? The answer sounds backward. This is not a slow target. This is a trap. Today on Navy Decoded, we break down the logic of the 80-mile gamble. We are going to show why the most dangerous place on the map can also be the safest. Welcome to the briefing. Start with the numbers. At 80 nautical miles, the Aoima should be helpless. The S-300VM surface-to-air missile system, known in NATO terms as the Ante-2500, is built to reach far. Its maximum range is listed at about 135 nautical miles. Do the math. 135 miles of reach minus 80 miles of position means the ship sits 55 miles inside the danger zone. That sounds like suicide. One launch order, about 2 minutes of flight time, and a $3 billion ship becomes an artificial reef. But the chart changes when you look at what is next to her. In the shadow beside the Aoima is an Arleigh Burke Flight 3 destroyer. On its superstructure is the Spy-6 radar, built for air and missile defense. It uses 37 radar module assemblies, each one a separate transmit and receive node. Now comes the part that changes the physics. Spy-6 uses gallium nitride (GaN). This material can handle far higher power than older silicon systems. It is not a small improvement. It is a major jump. This radar does not only see farther, it sees better. It punches through weather. It works through clutter. It can keep tracking even when the sky is full of chaff and noise. It can follow tiny objects at long range while watching hundreds of other contacts at the same time. It does not just detect a blip. It shapes the picture. It sorts the signature. It builds a firing plan before an enemy missile is even fully airborne. Inside the combat center, the coastline looks like a grid of dots and boxes. Each mark is a possible threat. Radar sites, missile batteries, early warning stations. In this setup, the destroyer is not only defending, it is hunting. If a coastal battery powers up its engagement radar, the fire control system does not wait politely. It moves first. That response rides on the SM-6 interceptor. Each one costs millions. But its job is simple. Stop the threat while it is still climbing. Catch it high. Catch it fast. The SM-6 has something older interceptors lacked, an active radar seeker. That means in the final seconds, it does not need the ship to hold its hand. It can search on its own. If the target turns, the missile adjusts. If decoys appear, the seeker sorts real from fake. The missile does not chase blindly. It predicts where the target will be. It closes the geometry. Picture two missiles on a collision path, head on. The closure speed is extreme. At those speeds, warheads matter less than physics. The kill is not about a big explosion, it is about impact. Kinetic energy does the work. At that speed, metal does not just crack, it can flash into superheated plasma at the point of contact. The target does not blow up the way people imagine. It is shredded and vaporized by force and heat. This is hit to kill, not fireworks. Math. Velocity turned into destruction. But that shot is only one layer, and it is not free. There is a second layer waiting where cameras never look. About 50 miles away, under the surface, a Virginia-class Block 3 attack submarine sits on station. Silent, patient. It has been listening for days. Its payload tubes are flooded. Not the old-style launch cells, the Virginia payload tube setup. 12 large tubes built into the hull. Each can carry multiple Tomahawk missiles. The targets are already mapped. Missile sites, radar arrays, command bunkers, everything that matters within reach. Coordinates loaded, timings planned, authority set in advance. When the enemy radar goes active, a signal moves through the network. The submarine gets the cue. Fire control runs the clock. Flight time is minutes. Then the tubes open and the Tomahawks leave the ocean like a row of spears. This is layered deterrence. The destroyer is the shield. The submarine is the hammer. The message is cold and clear. You fire one missile, we erase the system that fired it. Your coastal defense network collapses fast. Now we reach the real enemy, not the missile itself, the radar that guides it. In theory, at 80 miles, that radar should have a clean track. It should have a stable lock. It should be ready to shoot. But it sees nothing it can trust. 30,000 feet above the water, an EA-18G Growler runs a long loop, hour after hour. It is not doing old-school noise jamming. This is not the 1980s. This is deception. Digital radio frequency memory, DRFM. Think of it like photo editing for radar. The Growler catches the radar pulse, copies it, studies it, then sends back a changed version, a lie that looks real. One method is range gate pull-off. The radar thinks it sees the ship at 80 miles. A moment later, the false return shifts it to 82, then 90, then farther. The enemy system tries to keep up, but the target keeps sliding away. It cannot hold a steady lock because the target will not sit still. Meanwhile, the real ship has not moved at all. The enemy is aiming at a ghost drifting toward open water. But deception is only one tool. There is also silence, and then there is intrusion. Alongside the Growler, an F-35 runs a mission that is never explained on TV. The F-35's radar is not only a sensor, it can also act like a powerful transmitter. In the right conditions, it can push data into the enemy's receiver path, not by screaming noise, by slipping something inside. Call it cyber injection. The result is not a blackout. The operator's screen can still look normal. Blue sky, green status lights, everything working. But under the surface, parts of the system can be forced into failure or confusion. The chain from detection to launch to guidance can be broken quietly. The enemy does not learn they are blind until they try to shoot. Above all of this sits the conductor, the E-2D Advanced Hawkeye. It builds the battle space into one fused picture. Air contacts, friendly positions, threat lines, everything stitched together. A pilot flying low over dark water is not relying on a compass alone. The Hawkeye can push a wide view straight to the cockpit and helmet. Coastlines, buildings, threat areas, friendlies, updates arriving in seconds. It is not only control of the sea, it is control of what the enemy thinks is real. So why take the risk? Why put a ship so close that missiles can reach it? The answer comes down to two machines and one human limit. First, speed. The AWIMA is not a floating airport like a supercarrier. It is a fast launch platform. Its flight deck turns rules into shortcuts. With STOVL aircraft, short takeoff, and vertical landing, the F-35B does not need long catapult runs. It can launch quickly with less setup and less dead time. While larger carriers may need extra time to turn into the wind and cycle catapults, this ship can throw a fighter into the air fast. The F-35B's lift system is a mechanical miracle. A clutch engages. Power is redirected to the lift fan. Huge force is created in seconds. The shaft must handle brutal torque without twisting. The control computers make constant tiny corrections to keep the aircraft stable on a column of air. The pilot does not hand fly every moment. He commands. The system executes, and distance turns that into a weapon. From 80 miles offshore, the jet can be over the target area fast. Minutes matter, not just for tactics, but for survival. Second blood. A Marine hit in the wrong place can die fast. A femoral artery wound is a timer. The golden hour is not a slogan, it is biology. Delay surgery too long and survival drops hard. That is why the ship's position matters. The MV-22 Osprey can move fast, but combat adds delays. Time to get the wounded under fire, time to load, time to move from the deck to the operating room. Those minutes are fixed costs. Subtract them from an hour and you do not have much left. That is where 80 miles becomes the sweet spot. Far enough to work the trap, close enough to keep the wounded alive. The supercarrier may be farther out, safer from shore missiles, but it cannot do this same medical math. The AWIMA is built for it. Multiple operating rooms, ICU beds, surge space for hundreds. In a mass casualty event, it can turn into a full floating hospital in hours. The Navy does not place it at 80 miles to dare the enemy. It places it there to save its own people. And if the crisis turns into a rescue, this ship has another trick. It can change its shape. Deep in the hull, ballast pumps can flood tanks. The stern lowers. Water is pulled inside until a well deck becomes a sheltered harbor. Then, small craft can launch from inside the ship, hidden from wind and waves. Fast boats, special teams, quiet movement, minimal signature. They slide out, sprint. then go dark near the extraction point. If the mission demands brute force, there is an even bigger card, the LCAC, a hovercraft that moves heavy loads fast. It rides on air. It can cross water, climb onto land, push inland, and pull wounded back out. It can operate when boats struggle. It can bring people home when the coast is dangerous. So, how does the Navy place a $3 billion hospital inside a missile zone and not lose it? Not luck. Architecture. A larger carrier far out drawing attention. A destroyer close in, watching and ready. Spy-6 building the picture. SM-6 waiting to intercept. A submarine below, ready to break the coast defenses. A growler above, bending radar truth. An F-35 shaping the unseen fight. An E-2D holding the whole map together. And the AOEMA at 80 miles, doing the one mission that matters when the shooting starts, keeping Americans alive and bringing them back. Because behind every number is a person. A surgeon who has not slept, a pilot sweating in a hot cockpit for hours, an electronic warfare crew flying circles until their backs ache, a sonar operator listening in silence for days, and a young radar operator on the destroyer, tracking dots on a screen with steady hands. He might be a kid from Ohio who joined because life was expensive. But on this night, his work is the difference between Marines coming home and families receiving folded flags. This is not magic. It is discipline. It is teamwork. It is geometry under pressure. The United States does not need to storm your capital to win. It can take what it needs, protect its people, and leave, while a hospital ship sits 80 miles offshore, guarded by physics, planning, and sailors who refuse to accept impossible. This is not a threat. It is a demonstration. The math has already been done. The watch is already set.